CGT, that's capital gain tax.
Capital gains tax will really depend on how long will you hold it and what tax bracket are you in.
What is negative gearing, how it works today, and what is the future plan?
Is growing more than enough than what you're losing?
That is the fundamentals. That is the fundamental of investments. Two different countries, two different economies, two different sizes.
Warning sign,
Yes.
right? That we can learn from it as well.
That happened in 2022 in New Zealand. Hi, everyone, and welcome to today's episode at InvestVise. Now, in today's episode, I would like to talk some of the topics that has been discussed in every household and every investor. We're talking about CGT discounts. We're talking about negative gearing. We're talking about investments. We're talking about how the banks are behaving with interest rates. So there's a lot of noise out over there. I think let's just take one by one, dissect that, put it away, and then start backing them together. And I don't think so I can talk that alone to the walls. I have a great person with me in the research, my guest. That's Gilbert. Hey, Gilbert, how are you?
Good, man. Good. Thanks for having me here.
It's always great, man. It's always great to have a chat with you and discuss with you any things. But now I know who Gilbert is. I've been talking to him for ages now. But maybe in a quick rapid round, Gilbert, can you tell who you are, what you do, and how do you help us?
Well, yeah, said my name. I'm Gilbert Melgar. I'm the founder and CEO of Suburbs Finder, which a lot of BAs are using the platform. Not only BAs, but property investors as well, right?
Yep.
I've been into property investing since 2015. So I've used the tool myself and I've used to help other people as well. But since we've launched in 2019, BAs are the one who are regularly using the platform.
But research is not the only thing. We need more.
Exactly. It's not only research is the one that points the direction, right? Yeah. But aside from that, you guys are doing a lot of things in terms of negotiation, boots on the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why hats off to you guys.
No, man. Thanks a lot. Do you want to shy with your numbers, or do you want to share your portfolio with our guest?
Well, our portfolio is we do have 5 property investments, but
Great.
I'm more active now, or me and my wife are more active now in developing all of those properties that we purchase. Yeah.
And am I wrong, or do you agree with me? It's not all about the numbers of property to have,
yes,
but having
definitely
good properties.
It's not about having 10, 15, or 20. If you can have 5, but they're all quality, then that beats the 15 or 20, right?
Absolutely, man. Now, and definitely, you can see research is very important. We have the shield over here, as you can see.
Yeah, exactly. I'd like to congratulate you with this.
Thanks, buddy.
Research and Acquisition Specialist of the Year, man.
How do you
This
feel?
is really
How do you
good.
feel about it? Backing it up.
All I can say is you really did a good job. I mean, hard work pay off, and you're not just talking the talk, but you're walking the talk.
Oh, man. Thanks a lot. Hey. So, guys, let's just jump into it. And the very first topic I want to talk about today is CGT. That's capital gain tax. Most of us over here know what capital gain tax is. In a simple terms, if I say we buy a property, let's say for 709 or maybe for $1 million, we sell it for 1.2. As I'm assuming all the costs have gone out, so I make $200,000 out of that. With the current scenario, for 50%, that's $100,000. I don't pay any tax. And the remaining $100,000, I pay tax depending on my tax bracket. Am I 35, 37, or 45% tax bracket? So out of 200, I get 100,000 exemption. And on the remaining 100, let's say I pay 37,000 as a tax bracket. That is a simple way of saying CGT. Is that correct?
Yep, that's correct. Before we continue, capital gains, what we're going to discuss today, these are politically motivated influence, right? So we're not here to take any sides. We're just here to discuss facts.
Absolutely.
Right?
They're just two guys over here, one who is research and who is a property investment strategist, and we help a building portfolio. We're just discussing the current political scenarios and how that affects common people. It's not a debate. It's not against anybody. Australia is a great country. The government is amazing over here. But every government does things that has influences people. That's what we have to talk about. Hey,
Yeah, which is
that's a good underliner, right?
Yeah.
To save ourselves.
which is 2022. I mean, labor pledges. There's now nothing's gonna change, right?
Yep.
And then 2025. Well, September 2024. Well, Treasury was asked to, you know, run some different models
Yeah.
just in case, right? And then again, labor again 2025 labor again rules out that there won't be any CGT changes.
Yep.
But now, February 2026, it's again back on the table. It's a hot topic again, although it hasn't been implemented yet,
Yep.
right? So with that, as you said, as you perfectly explained, capital gains tax will really depend on how long will you hold it and what tax bracket are you in.
That's
So,
going to affect you
yeah.
a lot. And as we said with the capital gain tax, it's adding to it that if you hold your property for at least minimum of 1 year,
You get a
and
50%.
then you get 50% discount in the current scenario.
Yep.
But with the new scenario, that 50% changes to 33%, 25%, or they null it off to 0%. Rumors are 33%, but these are just rumors, which means that when I was getting a 50% discount, now I'm going to get only 33% discount.
Yeah, that's correct. So as you said, you mentioned a while ago, your example. Let's say, going back to the example, let's say at 500 grand capital gains, right? So on currently, so 500, so you'll have if it's more than 12 months, then your CD 50% discount, then you'll be taxed at 250,
Yes.
right? And if you're on the maximum tax rate of 45%, then your tax rate would be on 112,000.
Yeah.
But on what they're proposing, instead of 50, it will be 33%
Yep.
discount, right? So that on the same 500 grand, that taxable gain now, 250 will become 335.
Yes.
So 85 grand more. And on the same tax rate, so from 112, that will be 150 grand now.
Yes.
So that's a massive
That's a
38 grand difference. Right? But you'll only get this once it's implemented and once you sell the property.
That's correct. So that is a foundation of what CGT is, how it's calculated, and obviously it depends on the tax bracket. Now, if you buy a property that is between both the people, depending if both are on different tax bracket, coming back to example of 500, that 500 gets divided between both of them, they individually get taxed depending, are they 50% shareholders on a property and how it depends. So that's a lot of, but end of the crux is that discount reduces massively
Yes, of course.
if you're selling it after 1 year.
Yes.
So who are the people that really get affected by these? These are the people. Does it affect long-term investors?
Well, I would say people who get affected by this, firstly, I'd say people who are doing renovation for flipping.
Flippers.
Flippers,
That's what I was saying. So the first person category who gets affected, you go into a property, get it, do some renovations, and within 6 months or less than a year, because that becomes a holding cost until they put it on rent and then sell it after 1 year. That's a normal investor.
Yes.
All right. But there are flippers who take a property, subdivide it, make 2 or 3, and then sell that. So definitely those people get massively affected.
Yep, that's correct.
But if I see from property investors who are taking property, see, what I understand, building a portfolio takes around 10 to 15, 20 years. As I talk in my previous episodes, also we talk about is acquisition, stabilization, and consolidation.
Yes.
So you acquire property, buy as much as you can, as quickly as you can. If you're buying with the intention of selling, then you're not building up a portfolio.
Yes,
then you're in a
correct.
different direction.
That's correct. As you said, it takes a couple of years to create a portfolio.
Yep.
And it has to be a combination of different, I would say, different
Yep.
type of assets
Yep.
within that portfolio.
Yep.
One would be supporting cash flow, and one would be supporting growth. Right? So you have to balance
Absolutely.
everything.
Absolutely. Now, so this is kind of a crux of what CGT is. I've been promised, and the promises have been broken or not kept, and now there are still rumors. Who really gets affected by this? And what I understand, there is another talks about the grandfathering rule. So, which in a simple terms mean that if this policy comes in from whatever date it is May the 12th, June, or 1st of July. So it means any properties that have been bought before that date
Will not get affected.
will not get affected with any new changes. They still survive the old or current situation or current rule.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when that happens, do you think people would be, let's say they put in a date, right? Effectivity. You think people would be panicking and started buying?
See, that's what I would say over here is you should not panic. I know that's a big number of 100K and 150K difference at 33%. I mean, you're literally losing almost 17% more. That's your delta.
Yep.
50% and 33%. That's your delta now, right? The idea over here is if you are already thinking to invest, then don't delay.
Exactly.
Don't delay. But if you have never invested and now suddenly you hear CGT, oh, I have to invest.
And for that only purpose.
And just for that only purpose, as a buyer's agent, I will say, mate, think again. That is me over here. Because nowadays, people are scared more of messing up than missing out.
Yep.
That's what I've seen in my clients, and that's what I tell to them. So,
Well, it's the mainstream media's fault.
yeah.
Sensationalizing every topic.
Yeah.
Right?
So guys, don't make that a FOMO with these rumors, these things, because when we buy for our clients, we don't buy on tax benefits. It's good to have tax benefits.
Yes.
It's good to have CGT discounts, but my fundamentals are growth. My fundamentals are wealth generation. My fundamentals are why you're buying this property. And besides your super or shares, the cherry on the top, how property can help you in wealth generation.
Yeah. So, well, similar thing with how I treat depreciation. Right? I treat depreciation as just a bonus.
Yep.
Same with there's a lot of investors or I think selling agents that their selling proposition is, look at this, you'll get a lot of depreciation coming in because it's new build, right? Where in fact that depreciation will go back to you when you sell the property as well.
Yeah.
Right? So for me, it's just like depreciation. I mean, if the deal only works because of the tax benefit, then it's probably not strong enough.
One thing that I got from some numbers that I would like to share, do you think the CGT is going to have any effect on housing supply?
Let's have a look at first, right?
Yep.
So,
I mean, not about numbers, but having this idea where we are anyways, migration is up, supply is low. And now if this people start coming into this care of, I want to buy a property because of capital gain tax, that's just going to increase the demand more.
well, I totally agree with you because we already have a structural problem,
Yes.
right? So, not only that, but the construction cost as well in terms of labor and materials have increased again.
Yeah.
Right?
By approximately 25 to 30%.
25. Yeah. So that has already added fuel again, right? And now we have here CGT coming in.
Yeah.
So it's more on the psychological thinking of people, which, as you said, they shouldn't be thinking about it.
No.
But it affects how people think and behave.
So because I also work on data, and I would like to share this with you, and I would like to read it out. So I was reading this thing that, regarding the housing supply, if you think that, they're coming for your property because they think, it's going to fail and it's going to help in the supply, no. The Parliamentary Budget Office estimates CGT discount will cost the federal budget around 247 billion foregone revenue over the next decade.
It's just them catching. Again, I'm not being taking political, but I see it that
That's a massive.
it's an easy way to get more tax money without changing different tax structures.
Because this is not going to affect people who have already bought and they want to sell it now. They might more hold on to it because the next.
So there'll be less stuff.
Like part of consolidation is you sell a property to get your loans down, your debts down, and then you rinse and repeat, you start to acquire again. But then now they will not want to sell because they will miss that discount later on for the next one.
And the worst part is because of CGT, they're thinking even if the property they have is really not performing well, they should keep it.
They should keep it. and that takes us to the next topic of not performing well means cash flow, and cash flow means negative or positive. All right. So, coming to our next one, and let's get the other topic is negative gearing. So again, I would like to have a foundation. What is negative gearing? How it works today, and what is the future plan? Simple terms, these are cash flow. Whenever we buy an investment property, we have an incoming bucket, that's rent.
Yep.
And then we have, in that bucket, we have holes, that's outgoings.
Yep.
Your interest, that's your mortgage.
So let's say your total rents that you're receiving annually is 30 grand.
30 grand.
Right? And your deductible cost is 40 grand.
40 grand. Yeah,
So
let's keep
you're,
it very simple.
you're negative by 10 grand.
10 grand, depending on today's interest rate, sitting at 5.8 or 6%.
Exactly.
Now, that 10 grand of negative gearing or the negative cash flow, which is irrelevant to your capital growth, let's keep that aside.
Mm-hmm.
That helps you in your income that you're getting today.
Mm-hmm.
That gets offset against it. So let's say your income is 150K per annum. I'm not taking any other benefits to it. Your pay is 150K. Your taxable income is 150K.
Yep.
That becomes 150 minus 10, 15, whatever your cash flows are. And then your taxable income becomes 140K.
Yep.
Anything you'd like to add to that? I mean, that's me in a simple terms if I talk to anybody.
No,
What is negative gearing?
that's totally correct. For me, negative gearing, it's really hard to for me, it's not really a strategy. A lot of people are treating it as a strategy. Like, it doesn't make sense, like losing 10 grand just to get back 3 grand.
Yeah.
How can you call that a strategy, right? The only way that would make that feasible is if the capital growth is growing more than enough than what you're losing.
That is the fundamentals. That is the fundamental of investment. See, Australia has grown on an average of 6 to circa 7% in the last 20, 25 years. We have some hotspots areas that are growing 15 to 20% every year. So it's to look at the fundamentals. Forget about taxes. Yes, come on, you're earning money, you pay tax.
Yep.
But why don't you look at the bigger chunk? You have 100K. Out of 100K, if you have given 37% tax or 30% tax, you're still getting 70K.
Yep. So you're saying if the property that we bought gained, let's say, for the purpose of example,
Simple.
right, 100 grand.
Yeah.
It gained 100 grand in equity, and you lost 50 grand in cash flow for a year. So on paper, you still won 50 grand,
Yes.
right?
If you look at the capital gain tax.
Yeah, exactly.
And that 50 offsets again your income.
Yep.
Cash flow.
True. The tricky part is going back to CGT. If you sell that,
Because I am bleeding in my cash flow.
Yeah.
I will continue to bleed. Why? Because, hey, you know what? The next one I don't get CGT discount of 50%. So you do your doomed. You don't do your doomed. So I think yeah. So coming back, so that's a negative gearing current that we have.
Yeah.
Do you aware of the new proposed that's coming up with the new negative gearing?
That they're capping it to only two properties,
Yes.
right? And then a third property and above,
Yeah.
you won't be able to get anything back.
Anything back? This is what I have read, guys, and
Yep.
please correct me if I'm wrong. Because thanks to the internet, there's a lot of information out there, and it's always good. Whatever info. So again, underliner, whatever information we're talking about today, we're not financial planners, we're not accountants. These are numbers, our experience that we both are talking here. You can talk to your accountant for any more accurate numbers you want. But coming back to here on this one is that any more, so 3+ properties are quarantined, and any losses that you get from that, they would not offset against your current income.
Yep.
But there would be any future positive cash flow of your property. So that means if you're bleeding cash flow for 5 years, and on the 6th year when you start getting income, that is when it offsets only to your property income. That's only for third and
So when that takes effect, people would be heavily considering now the yield then.
I would like to share an example. Like we were having a chat with my client the other day, and then first-time investors, they were trying to invest properties, and then they started talking about, hey, we're not sure because we would not get much of negative gearing. So guys, you've not even done your first one yet. Again, rumors, FOMO, take a step back, talk to experts, talk to your accountant, understand the whole concept before getting misguided.
And negative gearing, you really get the benefit of negative gearing if you're really making a lot of money.
Yeah.
Right?
As I said, it's not a strategy.
It's not a strategy.
It only makes sense if the capital growth is really doing well and is offsetting that. So even if I'm paying 10 to 15,000 negative gearing and my property is even growing by 40 to 50K every year,
Doesn't matter.
doesn't matter. It makes
Yeah.
sense. It
Plus, imagine, so going back, so that's 500, that 1 million property now became 1.1. When it compounds again, it will compound based on a 1.1, not on a 1 million, right?
compound growth. Exactly. Again, some numbers you would like to talk here. I want to make sure that I'm correct. But anything else you want to add to this negative gearing? Who is it again? Who is it going to all affect, and what's your view? I just shared my view about it. But whom do you think this is going to affect more?
Well, the thing is, there's just a small volume of investors, right? So, on 2021 to 2022, ATO reported that around 2.3 million people declared rental income,
Mm-hmm.
and 71% of that owns just one investment property.
Wow.
19% of that owns two properties.
Two properties. Yep.
Right? And only 10% of that owns three or more properties.
Exactly. That's the numbers I'm looking here that you're talking.
So if you look at it, only 10%, right? But the thing is, so mathematically, a two property cap would not directly affect most investors.
Do you know why?
Right? Just looking at the numbers, right?
Because ADA says that's what most of the investors that own one property are an average below 80 to 90K. People out there who are really working hard and using the strategy for them. Yeah, coming back to you again.
Well, yeah. And then, but the thing is, a lot of people not get affected, argues that the market comes from uncertainty, right?
Yeah.
Because of these policy signaling and not just direct impact. And then it gets sensationalized by or hyped by mainstream media as well.
Classic example, I did a case study with our neighboring country, New Zealand.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you remember that one?
Yep, I had a look at that one as well. Right? But the thing is, based on the report that came out on that, it's not just they really can't correlate the one as in 1-to-1 just
Yeah.
based on the tax.
We can't
right?
because see, they're two different countries, two different economies, two different sizes. But then we have case studies for a reason. If we are not directly impacted, but indirectly, we can see how the ship sailed for them in which direction.
Yeah. So it's like a classic warning sign,
Yes.
right? That we can learn from it as well.
Yeah. That happened in 2022 in New Zealand.
Yep.
Yeah. And just looking over here, coming to the numbers, is that so what they did in 2022 is here we are. Yeah. So what they do is interest deductibility. That was removed.
Yeah, and then they totally removed that 100%, and then they put it back.
Why? Because the rents really went up.
Well, not on, but they're saying it's not only because of that. There's a lot of different things that have happened during that period, right? Like the migration, and then the housing supply, and then interest rates went up. Yeah, vacancy rates went down, which is same signals that we're having right now.
If I see a common person has bought 2 properties and he has the capacity or capability to go for his third one, he might just at one moment stop. Hey, am I really having any benefit? It's like in economics we talk law of diminishing returns.
Mm-hmm.
The first glass will give me enough satisfaction of thirst to quench my thirst for water.
Yeah.
Second and third. But obviously property doesn't work on law of diminishing returns, but that was just an example here. I bought my first, I bought my second, it's increasing my portfolio. Well, the third one will still increase your portfolio. But if you're stuck with that FOMO of negative gearing, you're stopping yourself from growing the wealth generation. And we have a less property outside in the market for a tenant.
True.
So again, guys, think, just don't go by rumors, just don't go by news over there. Every person has a different strategy, and I tell to my clients, buy when you are right, when you are confident, not when the market is.
Yep, exactly. Buy when you're financially ready and able. Right? And to add to that, Rishi, with what happened as an example to New Zealand, so it's not just CGT, negative gearing, but there's also a different other factors that are happening right now, right? Recently, RBA cash rate has increased to 4.1.
That takes to our third one, and that is banks borrowing policy for individual borrowing capacity.
Right, so from 3.8 to 4.1, 3.85, right?
So last year we had 3 rate cuts.
Yeah.
And then just now we've had 2.
So far.
Fingers crossed. That's it.
And it's just start of second quarter of the year.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then on top of that, APRA.
Yeah, you were talking about that yesterday over the phone. Why? Yeah, talk about it, man.
So during because a lot of people thinks that they're getting assessed, right, based on their DTI score, which is 6, right?
6, yeah.
But they're not aware that the banks or the lenders are adding more as a buffer. So they're not getting assessed with 6, but they're getting assessed 3 more, so at 9, right? So it's like, I'd say it's their way of testing that if everything gets worse, would you still be able to hold and pay the property?
Which is not wrong if I see from somebody lending you money.
Yeah,
but
because they're the ones taking all the risks.
Yes, but that's our stress test.
Yeah.
So if my current interest rate today is 6%, but you're assessed on 9%, 8 or 9%, that's the stress rate that you're looking at.
Yep. So imagine it. It's like, it's like a bridge, right? Like there's letting all the heavy trucks coming in, stress testing it before they open it to the public.
Yeah.
So.
But in that thing, see, what I'm trying to understand, how is a common Australian getting affected? All right. We're talking about this 70% first time one property, 80% or 90% having two investment properties. That's how common Australian. And many of them don't even have investment properties and they want to now. As I said, using property as a wealth generation for them.
Yep. Yep.
And what I see is that these are again numbers that I talk to lots of brokers, and with every 0.25 cash rate increase, the borrowing capacity affects by at least 2 to 2.5%.
That's huge.
So, which means hypothetically, from January to April, with two cash rates changes, average Australian, the borrowing capacity has reduced from 36,000 to 55,000 by doing nothing, by not changing their job, by not saving, by not skipping a meal, by literally going to their work and coming back. They have just lost a borrowing capacity, which means that 3 months back or 6 months back, if somebody thought of buying a property, but they still waited for the interest rate to fall, in fact, it backfired.
They already lost a lot.
They lost on a two-side blade. First is the borrowing capacity has reduced. Secondly, in the past 6 months, interest rate has gone down or up. I don't see the prices stopping or going down.
No, definitely. Because it all goes back to us having a structural problem in terms of supply.
Yes.
Right? So they miss on the borrowing capacity, missing that, and they missed on the opportunity of getting growth.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So then it goes back to when you're ready.
Buy when you're ready.
Buy when you're ready.
No, when
right?
see, classic example, 2018-19, interest rates were at 1.8%, 2%. People went on a binge buying of properties.
And people started to lock in on a fixed rate.
Fixed rate. So, and I could see a few years back, I could see my mortgage has doubled. Why? Because I've gone from 2 or 2.5 to 6% now. And fine, but they could hold that property all that time. They didn't see the flip side. The capital has also grown so much.
Yep.
So that's kind of the seed money. But what we're trying to talk over here is some of the bank policies that we have been seeing, as you talked about, APRA. So when we have your DTI, your debt to income ratio that they take, you can take up to 6 times of what you're earning, your stress testing, any other few things that we the other thing is I have seen when working with clients is that different banks have different policies.
Yes.
A property is valued at an X amount with one property. When I present the client a property, and the moment they go to a different bank, I can see a difference in the valuation.
There could be a difference of between, I'd say, 20 to 40 grand.
Even more than that.
Even more.
I've seen even more than that. So nothing against banks, but I'm just seeing how there are different policies over there. And the other thing is first is the valuation, and the other is the borrowing capacity. They go to a different bank. The way they evaluate, the way they work, we can see a change in the borrowing capacity that has gone up.
And there are some lenders as well. That's why you really need to have a good team, right, when you're buying. So not only in having people like you guys helping property investors, securing property, backed up by good research. Not only that, but they need to be working with a mortgage broker who's also holds a portfolio.
That's very right. I totally agree with that. You need to surround yourself with people who are either successful, succeeding, or working towards that.
Yep.
Because you need a broker who himself is an investor or thinks to invest. All right. They can help them with their structure. How should you what should be a structure of investing? Should you go in yourself? You should go for individual, a trust, a company. Those are different things. That's where accountants and financial planners might come in. But from a money perspective, who's talking the money? The broker is talking the money.
Yep.
And the other benefit, what I see is rather than you jumping from A to B and 5 different banks or 3 different banks, you have a broker who's kind of, he's one to many. Or she, sorry. And is filtering you towards a direction that which policy works for you.
Yep.
It's similarly like a property. Now, if you buy your property number 6 would be different to somebody's property number 1.
Definitely.
Or your property number 2 would be different to somebody's property number 5.
Definitely.
In terms of your risk-taking capacity, in terms of your financials, in terms of your growth, in terms of your strategy, what do you want to do?
And of course, if you already have more than 3 and above, like 4 or 5, you're not just looking at each property individually. You're looking at the whole portfolio. Imagine, let's say, it's like a puzzle, right?
Yep.
So the puzzle itself is your goal, right? So every piece of the puzzle to get to your goal, that's each of your property.
Yeah.
Each property has its own task. Right? So that's why I was saying a while ago. Some of the property in your portfolio would be heavily geared on growth. Some would be heavily geared on cash flow.
Yep.
So it's a balancing act.
It's your balancing act can go at a higher level macro, that we call it portfolio level, or then you can even go at an individual level.
Yep. True.
It's good to buy a property. That's my idea. Is the cash flows are great because you don't want to buy a property where the cash flows are highly negative. That means you're bleeding badly, or at the same time, and that should be in contrary to your capital growth. Or if you can buy a property with great cash flow, but there's no capital growth, you're stuck.
How can you scale?
Absolutely. Now, Ed, I think it's been a great conversation, and we're not running over time. But so guys, so today we talked some of the very not common but very important topics that one takes into consideration. And when you're investing, it's good to have barbecue conversations, but please do not get influenced by them. I'll be honest.
Especially after a couple of beers.
Right. And talk to SMEs, talk to your broker, talk to an accountant. Like as a team, when you're buying a property, you need a great broker. Buyer's agent, happy to help. You want to do on yourself, great, do on yourself. Take some data, take some research, but that's not the only thing, because when you're buying a property, it's a kind of a hub and spoke. All right? You're competing against buyers who are similar to you, who are just out in the market looking on real estate, scrolling to death.
Yep. Buyers represented by buyer's agents.
Buyer's agent, somebody who has done a course, or the local people living over there. By the time you find a property, it's already gone.
True.
Or if you didn't do a proper due diligence, you just did a costly mistake.
Yep.
Because when you're going to sell that property, and if it's in any of the detractors, flood, housing commission, anything, why will somebody buy that property?
Yep.
So coming back to that is, it's always, I buy for my clients, just not for tax benefits or discounts benefits and all that stuff. We buy on fundamentals, we buy on growth, we buy on trajectory. We look for a long-term perspective over here. And the key is not having 10 or 15 properties, it's having some really good assets. Any tip I would like, since I'm here, I didn't tell you, so this is kind of a surprise for you, mate. Either you can turn the laptop around and everybody can see in which region you're finding the next growth hotspot, or something that we would like to have something from you today over here.
Okay.
I would like to share with you.
Cool. But before we get to that, just to add, don't panic yet, because nothing of what we discuss here is law.
Thanks. Yeah.
It's not been applied, but it's nice to stay informed.
Absolutely.
Right? And I guess the second one is stress test the deals that you're looking at, right? I mean, put it on the lowest as possible with tax benefits, or even zero, right? Yeah. And then put it on the highest interest rates as much as possible and see if you can hold it or what.
Yeah.
Right?
And see, that's what we do, cash flow. Cash flow testing. I mean, yeah, guys, anybody can DM me on this thing, and I'm happy to share my cash flow. Usually, I give it to my clients, but we use numbers like what's the property price, where we are buying,
Yep.
what's the interest rate variable,
Yep.
we can change it. What's the yield variable, we can change it. What's am I going an 80%, 70%, or am I going a 90% deposit? So basically, what's your acquisition cost?
Yeah.
And then we try to get, is it, if it's SMSF, then we have to go for PNI. If it's interest only,
Yeah.
go on interest only. The idea is, and what Gilbert is trying to say over here is that we want you to be comfortable in this uncomfortable number.
Yes.
I mean, who wants to pay 10 to 15 grand from their pocket every year? That's an uncomfortable number. They will want to pay less. But guys, you're getting in a capital growth. You need to see that part also.
Yep. That is so true.
So
So with what Rishi was saying, they're doing a lot of different modeling scenarios in terms of numbers and financials, and just to determine which would be best approach for you guys, because that will determine the locations where Rishi would be buying for you,
yeah.
because that will match the strategy. So it's like reversing. So this is the strategy, this is your goal, and how can you get to that goal? Then identifying those strategy, then these are the locations that we should be buying. And you guys are already superb on doing that.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. And then going to location now.
I was about to ask it, but I was shush.
No, I'd say I'm not being biased, right? But we're in Sydney, so I'd say in regional New South Wales. So there's still a lot of areas, and I'd say within the Albury and Wodonga region.
So if I reverse, you just gave a golden nugget, man. You're killing my joke. If I reverse this, where would you want to buy today?
On a suburb level?
Let's
No.
talk. Let's talk at a, see now that becomes personal again.
Yeah.
Or what's a regional level that you?
And regional level, I would say those areas. Right?
Yeah. You just said a lot without saying anything.
I'd say on regional New South Wales and regional Victoria.
Yeah, Victoria.
Yeah, I'd say. Why? Because there's a lot of the difference in terms of yield that you'll get now is definitely better compared to capital city.
Yep.
Yeah. Plus, it's getting harder and harder to get the same, or it's getting harder and harder in terms of affordability. So people who, regional are becoming expensive already, right? So I'd say the best is have a look at regional. Rishi will be able to help you guys where exactly those areas are, based on what you're trying to achieve, based on your strategy and your goals and your financial situation. I'm pretty sure Rishi, not only on the strategy side, but of course, you guys will be able to connect you with mortgage brokers as well.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got a great team. We work with some really great mortgage brokers, accountants who really help us, because if somebody asks me, shall I buy in this structure or not, I say, I would recommend talk to an accountant.
Exactly.
If you want to ask me what I have done, like I just asked you, where would you buy? I would just say, this is me, but me and you are very different at the moment. And you just talked about some few regional. Definitely, capital cities are becoming very, very expensive now. I mean, median price have already crossed $1 million.
Well, the entry price alone is already filtered out a lot of people, right?
Yeah, I know, and it's we can see a lot of population migration happening, and that's already pushing on the demand, because migration is just not external migration from outside, not only internal migration within the States, but we call it as a natural migration, which means births of kids.
Mm-hmm.
And when those kids are 18, or my kid, when he moves out of the house, suddenly it's not one house, now there are two houses.
See, that's the thing what they don't understand with demographics as well.
Yep.
An area can experience demand without any migration, right? Because imagine 5 households, right? Can live in under a single roof, right?
Yeah.
But so those families, but those 5 households now, as you said, once let's say 3 kids, 3 of those leaves,
Yep.
then definitely they'll be looking at their own
Yeah,
place
yes.
as well.
Classic
right?
example, 2 of my very good friends, their kids have grown up. They've gone to Canberra to work now. And suddenly in Canberra, we need 2 more houses.
Yeah. Without migrants.
Now, guys, thank you very much for being on this episode. So thanks a lot, Gilbert. It's always great catching up with you and talking to you. And yeah, if you guys are needing any more information, you can go and read some links outside. But talk to an SME, talk to your accountant, talk to your lawyers if you want any more information, and wait until some real news is released rather than going on rumors.
Yep.
Give me a call if you want to book a free discovery call. You can always have one-to-one session. Happy to meet on coffees. And if you can message me or just send me a DM, happy to share the cash flows that we have. I would like to wrap up this episode until we come for the next one again. And thanks, Gilbert. Thank you very much.
No, thank you for having me. Congratulations again for the awards.
Thanks, brother. Thanks.
Okay, cheers.